Welcome to Comsverse. This session is called A Meeting Room is More Than a Microsoft Teams Room Device. And today will be presented to you by Graham Walsh. Take it away, Graham.
Thank you very much. So yes, today I'm going to talk to you about what goes into a meeting room. It can be as simple as a Microsoft Teams room device, but there's a lot more to consider around the meeting room, and that's especially before and even more so now as we look at this return to work. Shall we call it an experiment? As we go back to work in this new normal, which is another presentation I did yesterday. So what do we have? So first of all, thank you to all our sponsors here at Comsverse. So it's great that we've got all these sponsors to make this online event happen. So again, thank you very much for these sponsors. You can jump into the Teams channel and go and meet one of them, go and have a chat, go and have a video call, ask a question. So all vendors have their booth staff in the Teams channel, so they're happy to answer any questions that you may have. So a quick thing, a little bit about myself. So I've been working in IT all my life, and I know 25 years, it doesn't look like it, but I've been in different roles from being a user, procuring IT services and technology, right up to a vendor where I work today. So currently I work at Crestron, and I look after our enterprise UC division from a technical aspect. So working with customers and partners, and also working with product management, and then very closely with the Microsoft team as well. So I have lots of information on my blog that I share, tips and tricks on all things related to Microsoft Teams room devices. You'll find a lot of history on there on Cloud Video Interop as well, as I used to work at a vendor for there, and even before that, another devices manufacturer that I used to be at as well. So lots of information on there if you want to go and have a look and subscribe, or follow me on Twitter or LinkedIn. Again, lots of information. Be useful stuff, some unuseful stuff like pictures of my new puppy. So go and have a look and follow. And then finally, earlier this year, I took the end of last year, I took the Teams Administrator exam to not just fully focused on Teams devices, but knowing Teams as a broader concept. So it was great to sit that exam and pass it too. So what do we have? So in the past, let's call it 3-4 months, we've all had to work from home. We've all been working using our Teams devices, whether it's on a personal device, a laptop, a tablet. We want this rich experience. We've used to been able to have Teams available to us, click a button, join a meeting, share a file, etc. It's so simple. And what we want to ensure moving forward is actually, again, we have a meeting room setup. We want to be able to ensure that we're able to collaborate from there with Microsoft Teams, especially as we return to work, where some people might be in the office, some people might be at home. We need to ensure we have that rich experience. So what we've had in the past really is different types of rooms. So traditional workspaces are your office, your cube, where you sit, a public area, conference areas, auditoriums. But how the world has changed in the last couple of years is that we work anywhere now. We don't have to sit at a desk and work. We're working remotely at home, well, flexibly, and a lot of people have been working from cafes and everything else, coffee shops, partner offices. It doesn't matter. Once you've got a connection and a good certified headset, you can carry out your Teams meeting anywhere. So again, the workspace has changed in how we work. So we also need technology that can grow as well. So not just traditional fixed areas like we have on the top line, but how we look at the office nowadays. We're going to have different areas of the meeting spaces and different work areas. And what we need is to have this consistent experience. So whether you have the conference room, you've got your small meeting spaces, you've got your open spaces, and open spaces is probably one thing I'm going to see, or I expect to see more of as we return to work. I've seen many people say, we're closing meeting rooms, we're taking desks away, we're going into the office to collaborate and discuss things and maybe use the Surface Hub, etc. But you don't need to go to an office and sit and work. We've succeeded at that. We can all give ourselves hopefully a pat on the back. We've done that remotely. So again, going to work will be more an experience to collaborate and share those ideas when we've lacked that in-person interaction, or maybe just go for a social distancing lunch or something, whether it's with customers, suppliers, partners, colleagues. We still need that social interaction to help thrive and share ideas off each other. So as I mentioned, throughout the day you could be in different workplaces. So in the morning, you could be at your desk or at a desk or a hot desk area, and you want to use Teams. So you may use your desktop, or you may use a certified device that's on the table. And then we move forward to our first meeting, and then it could be you want to walk in that room, you want to use Teams, you want to be able to simply join that meeting. Then you join another meeting in a different room. Again, you want the same rich experience wherever you are. Like wherever you go, you've got a native Teams experience in all these spaces. But also these spaces need to be probably a little bit more intelligent than what they might have been. So being able to go anywhere in the office and just easily work. I think the key thing here is simplicity. We've all used Teams from our personal devices. We need to make sure our rooms are that simple too. I mean, if we take a look at an example of what we have in the world, should we say, of meeting rooms in the past, they could be complex, full of AV equipment and racks, and no one knows what it does. Sometimes, you need a technician in the room, and that's no good. That's not scalable. You can't have people on site just to hit a join button and or hit a join button and hope it works. It needs to work all the time. So sort of gone are the days of having all this technology behind the scenes. A lot of this can be minimized because it's all built into features such as Teams, and I'll show you some of these shortly. But to give you an idea of sort of some deployments, you can have a simple soundbar with the compute mounted behind the screen, the tablet on the wall, and actually paired with a touchscreen here, for example. So this gives you this full Microsoft Teams room collaboration experience, but with inking as well. So you could give everyone their own personal stylus, so they can walk up and annotate on there. So these are some ideas that we've seen deployed in certain areas. Again, collaboration spaces, huddle spaces where you want to come and share ideas. Sometimes it's great in person, which is why you deploy some of these sort of solutions. And then again, different size spaces, using the same technology, the Microsoft Teams room, but with a projector. And you can easily define where you want to put these room solutions. It doesn't have to be complex. There's no extra racks anywhere hosting any equipment. It's very, very simple in terms of a compute, a touch panel, and a speaker, soundbar or microphone, speaker puck. And then you look at other rooms, where you've got existing equipment or traditional VTCs. Again, some of this can be easily replaced. Again, drop in Microsoft Teams rooms, and they can simply be, reutilize the existing displays, but then put in the new technology, so it's familiar with the Microsoft Teams ecosystem. Again, you don't have to just use one brand of vendor for your MTRs. You could use, for example, in this environment, it's a Crestron MTR paired with a Polycom Eagle Eye Director with certified ceiling speakers and microphones. So again, you can blend and pick and choose the elements you want to build these sort of, what we would call complex spaces. And again, moving into other complex spaces is, auditoriums. How do you deal with large spaces like this? Again, you want this to be as native and simple as possible for the user. So up there on the left-hand side, you have the touch controller, which can then automate all the lights, the blinds, and the drop-down screen. And you could even go one step further and put in a sensor, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Again, large rooms where you have a large boardroom. Again, this won't be a 12, 14 person room anymore. This is probably going to be a 6, 7 person room while we socially distance when we go back to work. So the advantage here of having multiple controllers is that multiple people, can control the meeting, mute it, add content, etc. So again, a couple of options of, having less technology is sometimes more. I love the phrase "less is more." If anyone's a Lotus Cars fan, Colin Chapman, add lightness. Take everything away, keep it simple. And again, that's what the Microsoft Teams room enables us to do. And if you don't have a room, how do you get video and get Microsoft Teams everywhere? So one example here is Crestron. We have developed this Crestron Flex Cart. which is mobile. So you can easily move it around your workplace or your university or your hospital, wherever you may want to deploy it, your manufacturing facility. So what we can do here is the ability to take this device, the MTR, and also then you pair it with your choice of screens. So whether you want that to be a normal screen, so a normal display, or again, like I mentioned before, this could be a touch display. So just connect that up with the MTR over a USB cable, and then you've got this, Surface Hub collaboration-esque device. That's native Microsoft Teams room, but with also inking capabilities. The inking capabilities today must be started from a Teams client. Later on, it'll be able to be started from the MTR console. So again, you need to move it around. Very, very simple. The cables are on retractors, so you've got no dangling cables around, no one to trip over, or the wheels to run over a cable or crush it. It's all really neatly done. So this is again available now and shipping in the US and hopefully be in the EMEA very shortly. So how do we build a smart room, or what consists of a smart room? Again, I'm sure many of you might have seen this before. Here is your room booking solution. A sheet of paper on the wall each day. Not really cutting edge in this day and age. Ultimately what we want to do is, use our Outlook, use Exchange, book meetings online, make them Teams enabled. So, for example, this could be the ultimate goal, that you're able to, look at your the room availability. You can see rooms are free or available. You go into your Teams client and you book a meeting, and then instantly will block out the meeting, make it red. You can then go into the room and obviously make it very simple for you to start that meeting because it's Teams enabled. So you walk in and hit the join button inside the room, or again, using your personal device, you can use proximity join. So start the meeting wirelessly, and it also answers the call. So again, lots of ways to make the system very, very touch-free, and that's probably a key theme that I'll be talking about. But what else can we do? So we can do a lot of things at Crestron in terms to extend the room, but again, trying to keep it as simple as possible. So we have a whole range of AV technology, should we say, that will allow you to extend the HDMI over your infrastructure cabling, your Cat5, Cat6 cabling. Have these matrices to bring in multiple cameras, multiple feeds, multiple content sources. So, for example, if you wanted a HDMI cable at each table or each area, and then bring that into the MTR. The MTR has one input. So again, bring it into a matrix switcher, and you're able to bring all this video content together and then just send in the correct one at that point in time. So again, we have lots of solutions to just add on one or two little elements. There's no need to go mad and add in all 4,000 products that I've seen some people do. Keep it simple again. Just use the components you need to get the right solution for the customer. So one feature we launched probably about 6 months ago is our occupancy sensor. And what we can do, for example, is pair that with a number of things. So like I showed you with the scheduling panel, looking down the hall, trying to find a room, you can have an option now to check in. So you walk up there, Graham's at my meeting, I want to check in. And if I don't check in with a set number of minutes, you can define that. What that will mean is the room will get dropped out. It will delete the invite from the room and from the MTR. So again, this can happen, and some people call it room ghosting. They'll just book rooms for the sake of it, and then decide how I'm going to work from home. I don't want to come into the office, but then that room is booked out. So by having this check-in feature where you have the touch panel, you can check in. If you pair the touch panel with our occupancy sensor, then it can detect it automatically. Again, zero touch. Walk in the room, it knows you're there. It's got 2 ways of picking you up. So it's a dual technology sensor, and it can automatically, obviously, check you into that room. It also understands what we call walkthroughs. So maybe someone coming in to clean up the rubbish or clean the coffee cups or whatever it might be. It understands that sort of passing action. It will detect someone obviously persistent in the room. So what this example here is showing is that you walk in, the sensor can actually then turn on the display. So if the display is in powered off for energy saving, it can simply just power the screen up once it detects someone's there. And again, if you've got further control because you want that, lights and blinds, it could also do that. So again, the single sensor can be very, very clever and be used in a number of different ways. And I think the key here is that it's simple to set up. It's simply a PoE network cable mounted in the ceiling. And then obviously when you connect it with our wireless sharing product, then you're able to flash up on the screen, and it's simple telling you how to connect wirelessly, say with Miracast. Again, making the room simple, so as you can see there, that table is nice and clean. What about if you do need that physical cable? And again, making the tables really neat and tidy. One thing I can't stand is table mess. So one thing we have here at Crestron is what we call our flip tops, or FT2s for short. And again, it's a cable retractor, and there's a couple of different options. Do you want it manual? Do you want it electric? Do you want it even controlled via the cloud and automatically? So if no device is connected, say to that HDMI cable, if it detects nothing but the cable's out, it can automatically retract. So it can tidy up the room for you automatically. I saw this for the first time back in February, and it just amazed me, on how clever it can be. So again, no one's left cables messy in the room, so it's always a nice experience when you come back into the meeting. So again, all these HDMI cables, USB-C, how you get these back into, say, an MTR, again, you bring this into one of Crestron's switches, and then it can detect where there's a signal, and then send that into the meeting room or into the meeting space. So these are very cool. Again, available in 2 different colors, depending on your desk. And again, it's a great solution. You can pick and choose. It's modular, so you can choose your different power supply or your international power supply. Do you want a charging port so people can charge their phones in here, etc. So again, very modular and very flexible in how you want to deploy these, and keep the room nice and tidy. So what else can we do? So with our wireless content sharing solution, this is again something probably quite key as we move forward into this touch-free environment, is that we have a feature called, or product called Air Media. And within this product, we can wirelessly share, for example, from our system, I can connect multiple sources and share into the meeting. And that's what we're calling a dynamic canvas. So if I have obviously my 2 laptops here, 16:9 format, I see them equally. If I connected my phone, Android or iOS to it there, then I would get a smaller portrait window on, say, the left-hand side, and then I'll still see my laptop screen larger. So it's what we call a dynamic canvas. And again, we can have multiple people connected at the same time. And again, being wire-free, so using Miracast, if you've got that built into your laptop on Windows, you can just use Windows key and K, find your room, and then share wirelessly. You may need a PIN number depending on your security requirements, but you can do that. And again, the same with AirPlay, you share your screen, and it comes across into the screen. So whether it's inside a meeting or outside of a meeting, so you're just in the room collaborating, sharing ideas, works great. And also as part of a Microsoft Teams room as well, you can add it to there. So what do we have again? So we can have 2 sources, doesn't matter what they are. We just don't support Chrome OS, but the main obviously Windows, Mac, Android devices we will support on there. And also don't forget there could be a physical cable. So if some people still like that traditional cable being plugged in, that again could come out of a flip top, nice and tidy. So when someone does connect in, it routes through the wireless content sharing. What does it look like? So you can configure it for the front of room. So you can have a nice picture, your corporate branding, your corporate logo. We now have this light and dark theme on here as well. And this is all natively linked to Exchange as well. So Office 365, Exchange Online, Exchange On-Prem, and other mail search providers available. But the idea is it can show you what's on the screen ready for the next meeting. Now, again, we can configure this when you're connected to a MTR, so it doesn't show this. So you have your native MTR experience. This can be brought over to the touch panel instead. So again, giving you a nice way to look and feel on how you do this. As I mentioned, talking to Office 365, today we use Basic Auth. We're going to use, obviously, Basic Auth is going to be retiring. It was meant to be October, but that's been extended now. So we'll actually support Modern Auth, and we're on track to deliver that around the end of the summer. So again, you can be ensured that we're ahead of the game, as we know that Microsoft is going to retire that on there. And again, analytics is probably quite key. So understanding how many people are connected, who's connected. So if again you need to troubleshoot anything, you can see this centrally through the cloud platform called XIO Cloud. And you're also able to log in directly to the device itself as well. Sometimes you have to go to the web and go and get the application if you want to do it that way, if you don't have Miracast. But now again, we're building it into the system so you can get the apps separately or from the local server. And again, as I mentioned, pair it with a sensor. It makes it a really nice solution that is paired with the sensor, and then it can auto turn on, wake the screens up, etc. And talking about screens, again, a part of the smarter meeting room, we have certified drivers for a lot of manufacturers. So there's a Crestron connected, what we call driver, and a lot of the major displays, Samsung, LG, NEC, they all have this, what we call Crestron connected certification. And they're able to, you're able to put this into the system and say, this is my system, go and control it how it should be. So again, think of it like a one-for-all remote control, where you could program it to talk to your devices. This is similar to what it's doing. It's able to understand what the screens are and power them down and start them up in the most appropriate way. Again, a new feature we've added to the wireless content sharing solution here is the ability to upload your background and not have to have it on a remote server. So it can be stored locally on a device. Again, this helps some security issues with some customers, is that the device can be, the URL can be, the picture can be held locally rather than on a central server. And why is this important? Because what we're seeing is actually a lot of people are now looking at using this technology for the digital signage element as well. So having messages on the screen to remember to socially distance, or to clean the room up, or if you see anything suspicious, you can have these messages on there. And a new feature again that we've just launched is this refresh. So if you do want to store them centrally on a server, say in a Azure blob, what you're able to do is actually refresh those images. So you don't have to go and do anything manually. You can put a batch of files, give it the URL location, and it'll go and read the various different backgrounds that are in that folder, and then obviously define how long you want that for. So again, example of the front of the room screen. Another update that we've had is making the font size larger. So again, making it nice and clear so people can see what the device name is, or the room name, plus its PIN code. So you're able to modify that in there. And then also, finally, we've had this new touch panel support. So where we have an existing touch panel today, it wasn't able to talk to Air Media. You'd need to just display it on the screen. You can again take that off the screen, put it on a nice touch panel, maybe it's on the wall, and then control it all from there. And again, see your Exchange calendar on there, who's got a room, and also make a reservation straight from here. So again, a nice solution to do that there. Then also customization of the support help information. So again, you're able to put this on there now to put it your organization, your help desk number, and who to call. So again, some of these great improvements that we've had in the last couple of months within the wireless content sharing product, that'll, I think, help improve productivity in these workplaces. So intelligent rooms, what do I mean by this? Traditionally we've had our camera in a room, you've had microphones, you can detect, when the HDMI cable is plugged in. And recently we've been able to detect how many people are in a room. So what we call people counting. So for example, here we know there's 5 people in the room, and we shouldn't have any more people in this space. That's all great because it shows it in, so for example, the Crestron Cloud, in the XIO Cloud, which is hosted in the Azure IoT Hub. Now, what we didn't have is any way to sort of use this data. It was in our roadmap to obviously have a dashboard and understand this. But what we're actually going to move to an alerting system now. So we're able to see this, we have the data. So what we're going to do within the next few weeks is enable it in our cloud servers, so you can define a threshold for that room. So for example, it used to be a 6-person room or 12-person room. You're going to say this needs to be at 50% for now. And again, you can adjust this through the cloud service depending on your sort of different local regulations. So London might have one rule, New York might have another, Sydney might have another. So again, you don't need to keep them all the same. Each room can be set to their own sort of variables. And then you can set up an alert. So via email or SMS, or that email could be going to a Teams channel, for example, to say, this room is over capacity, and obviously that could be emailed to facilities, security, whoever you want to have that email sent to. So it could be quite useful to obviously adhere to policies and regulations in each country. And then, so that's phase one, is obviously this simple alerting, being able to do this. When we move on to phase two later on this year, we'll then have it in a dashboard, so you can look up and see, frequent, let's call them offenders, that are, people who are booking rooms and bringing extra chairs in, which they shouldn't do. You may have removed some chairs, but again, have all this data available, and all the graphics and details are all based on Power BI. So again, if you wanted to, you could export that or use the API to get this data. So again, about being in the room, within the cloud service, within Crestron, we're able to control any touch panel, whether it's a room booking panel, or for example, here we have the Teams room system. So we're able to access this MTR remotely through the cloud. We're able to press buttons, we're able to control it fully. So again, I don't need to be in the room to assist that user when they say, hey, where's my dial pad in this room? And you could understand, well, what do you mean? Where's the dial pad? You can log in, see what they mean, and then you could realize that, hey, this device doesn't have enterprise voice enabled, it hasn't got a calling plan, hence why there's no dial pad. So again, it means you don't need to go there, you don't need to be in the office to do this. You could be anywhere connected once you're on the internet, as this is all in the XIO cloud in Azure. So again, also there's going to be features in here that you'll be able to see the status of the peripherals. So understanding that the USB camera is disconnected or the HDMI is disconnected. So again, set up alerts for this. So it gives you that ability to pre-warn someone who's going to the meeting room, or who gets into the office first, is that the system isn't online, there's some issues, they need to go and have a look at them first before obviously anyone goes to that room. So alerting is quite key. And then also a new feature that's just been launched is the integration with Logitech. So as a partnership between Crestron and Logitech, that was announced at ISE early this year, back in February. We're able to now actually show the status in the cloud here of the Logitech peripherals. So whether you've got a meetup or a rally camera system connected to a Crestron system, then you can actually pull all those statuses through. You can schedule firmware upgrades. So you've got full control of those Logitech devices in the Crestron cloud. So it's a great sort of partnership to, again, as I mentioned earlier, you can then, pick and choose the best of breed technology for your workplace. It doesn't have to be all from one vendor. You pick and choose that. But again, something like the Crestron cloud, you're able to monitor the Crestron technology, the Logitech peripherals, and then even further out, being able to control things like the screens. So again, even remotely turn on screens, displays in your room, on and off. Again, that's a feature coming early next year. We showcased again that this year. This is the way we're moving forward, that the cloud is going to be your main control for everything. So one of the things, again, when you're looking at your rooms, certified devices, Microsoft have their website, aka.ms/Teams devices. Here you can see a wide range of certified headsets, phones, obviously the meeting room solutions, but also the custom room solutions. So the extra devices you might need, like the ceiling microphone, different cameras such as Ava have just been certified as well. So lots of choice on there to build up your room and make it the best smart room you can as possible. One of the technologies I didn't cover was face tracking. So you don't need to pick up a remote control and pan, tilt, zoom. Crestron, Logitech, and also the Ava cameras and the Poly, Eagle Eyes as well. They all do facial recognition or group framing. So again, you don't need to pick up a remote control and do a pan, tilt, zoom, even though that's possible on some of the devices. Let the technology do work for you. Make the room smart. And then again, if you've got any questions, don't forget you can stop by the Microsoft Tech community, where there's lots of great information on there. There's again regular blog posts from the product group when they release new versions of the Teams rooms. And again, if you're lacking any features, don't forget you've got the user voice. Again, the Microsoft product team are active on there. They're reading all the requests come on there, and obviously action it if it's a feature request that's viable for everyone. And one of the things I get asked a lot as well is, how do I get access to, let's say, early preview and see new features that are coming, so I can be prepared in my room if I've got a tent card maybe, or I need to do some training. So there's an option to join the Microsoft TAP preview, so the Technology Adoption Program, and you can do this for your meeting room devices, up to 5 devices. So again, if you want to see early access and provide feedback to the product group, you're able to enroll up here, and again, you can give feedback to the product group, test out the new features, and again, I really enjoy being part of this, giving back features, requests, and usability. How people expect it to work in the real world. Yes, you can design a certain thing, but does it work in practice? And I enjoy working with the product group, giving this back. Also, another thing that I've set up with my colleague Jimmy is a community Ask Me Anything, just focusing purely on the Microsoft Teams rooms. So again, we host this once a month now. We're I think it's the 4th episode next week. So next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. UK time, 5 p.m. European. Again, we have a 1-hour session. We'll have a guest speaker, and we usually pick a topic each month and then answer your questions. So when you fill in the form, when you go to the registration page there, feel free to ask 1 to 10 questions, and we'll put that in the slide deck, and we'll run through the answers. And then it's a Teams meeting, so we'll open it up so you can have a chat and ask those questions live. So it's not just about Crestron, it's about any vendor within the MTR space. And then finally, feedback. So it's great if we could have some feedback from everyone on the whole event in general, not just this session. That'd be appreciated as well. But the overall, comms versus how it's been for you. How will it happen, moving forward when we go live next year in person, which it should have been this year, or are they going to be brave enough and run this again? So it'd be great if you can fill in some feedback. And that is my overview. So we have some time for some questions live, or we can jump into the breakout room.
Thank you, Graham. Very interesting presentation. I have been watching the Q&A module here, but we don't have any question at the moment.
Okay.
So should we perhaps call it a wrap and then see each other in the breakout meeting instead?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah, I posted the link in the QA section, so you have the link there. You can click in there and ask your questions and ask other questions to Graham there. Thank you very much.
Thanks.